first we are going to start with the speech title, Integrated Care for Seniors as a Challenge for Slovakia by Michaela. Yes, Michaela?
Yes, I'm prepared.
You have 6 minutes for your presentation, and the other participants also have the same opportunity to present their titles and studies in this perspective and process. Okay, good luck. It's your turn.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to start the reason why did we choose the issue of integrated care for seniors, and why we perceive it as a challenge for Slovakia. So we will be talking about integrated care in the context of long-term care. Long-term care is primarily associated with target groups of seniors and people with disabilities. We focus our attention for seniors, considering that there is a growing trend of aging of the population. Seniors are currently considered the most at-risk group in the field of social work and social services. It must not be forgotten that they are an equally important part of society, and therefore it's necessary to ensure health and quality aging. The aging of the population brings with it a number of chronic and neurodegenerative diseases, which at the same time causes a greater demand for quality long-term care and quality provision of social services. We consider all these reasons to be key factors for the necessary solution to the systemic change and setting up of long-term integrated care, which is still absent in Slovakia. In Slovakia, social services and healthcare still represent two separate systems with minimal cooperation, and that brings with it a number of problems in practice. We therefore perceive the long-term integrated care as a challenge for Slovakia. The aging of the population is a long-term global trend, and Slovakia is one of the countries with the fastest aging population in the European Union. We focus on Trnava region in which we operate, and which is also the fastest aging region in the Slovak Republic. In this slide, we can see that from 2014 to 2019, the population over the age of 65 increased by 9,226 inhabitants. In Slovakia, long-term care for seniors is provided primarily within the social services and home care services. At present, in the Trnava region, its waiting list registered 158 applicants for social services. It means capacity of the existing facilities is not sufficient. We can see a great need for systemic change and the provision of integrated long-term social and healthcare in Slovakia. So why the healthcare and social care department of seniors don't cooperate together in Slovakia, and what are the consequences of this divided care for the seniors? In practice, Slovakia has always divided human care among several departments. Healthcare belongs to the Ministry of Health, and care for social services and social and legal protection belong to the Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs and Family. The decentralization of state administration required the transformation of the whole society, which postponed the search for common solutions to the issue of social and health care. We can therefore say that integrated care is currently one of the biggest problems in Slovakia in the field of social services and social work. The need for implementation of integrated care has been talked about in Slovakia for more than 20 years. During the which several strategies, documents, and plans for its implementation have been developed. The first draft law on long-term care was prepared in 2004, but to this day, the law on long-term care doesn't exist in Slovakia. So during all these years, when the need for the introduction of integrated care was perceived, several obstacles arose, and this issue remains comprehensive unresolved. Here we can see subject and social services. All these entities have divided competencies within which the provision of social services at the level of state and self-government is ensured. At the level of self-government, there is already a gradual interconnection of social and healthcare, but at the state level, social and care is still divided. So we can see too much barriers that hinder the implementation of integrated care in Slovak Republic. As we have already indicated, we consider long-term integrated care to be an important component in addressing the challenges posed by an aging population. As Slovakia is the fastest aging country, and the demand for social services is growing, we consider systemic change and setting up a long-term integrated necessary. At the same time, we consider it important that the social services provided are of high quality and available. Paradox, major shift in the return of cooperation between Ministry of Health and Ministry of Labor, Social Affairs and Family is the COVID-19 pandemic, which helped significant cooperation in the creation of intervention teams. Another benefit was memorandum of cooperation, where is our faculty, one of 11 faculties, sign memorandum, and students actively assist in the testing of COVID-19 or directly in social services facilities, etc. We believe that this cooperation between the ministries during the COVID-19 pandemic is also the first step in ensuring the necessary comprehensive human care. So thank you for your attention.
We thank you, Michaela, and your co-author, Jana, on this great study. Now we are going to continue second speech titled The Concept of Identity in the Technological Era by Ines. Yes, Ines, it's your turn.
Hello, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm very happy to take part in this conference. First of all, I decided to speak freely in order to provide a more focused approach on the PowerPoint I used for the YouTube video. And since the time is limited, I'm just focusing on the most important aspects. My research aims to explore how the personal and collective identity are shaped from the perspective of the constant process of adaptation to a perpetually changing society, with a particular emphasis on the evolution of artificial intelligence, which is gradually becoming part of our existence. Between the society and the individual, there is a complex relationship, inside of which these two factors strongly depend on each other. This dynamic, the change occurs as a result of the mutual influence of each of these two factors, one upon each other. The behavior of individuals therefore leads to a redefinition of society over time, which in turn produces certain reactions within the individual as a result of their need to adapt to it. The immersion of artificial intelligence in our lives follows a long tradition of philosophers and researchers who have tried to answer questions whose primary aim was to discover a universal language capable of meeting the individual's growing need to understand the world they are part of. As a consequence, it has gradually started to redefine all areas of our lives, such as the way we communicate, our behaviors, and the working environment. Considering the intrinsic implications of this relationship, whose ramifications extend to all the sectors that define our existence, and using as basis the studies conducted over time on the problematic raised by the influence of artificial intelligence on men, I decided to approach these subjects from a behavioristic perspective. In this respect, I am particularly interested in analyzing the influence that the development of new technologies has on the individual in terms of shaping personal identity, as revealed by the behavior adopted within the society, the nature of daily interactions, and the perception of self. The concept of identity had many different approaches in literature, given its multidimensional nature. According to me, the social act consists of several phases, such as the interaction between different forms, which also means mutual adjustment to each other's behavior, identifying gestures, which through the reflexive process gain some meaning, translated into attitude and interpretation, depending on the mental and emotional capacity of each individual. This then becomes a symbol, which is reflected in the language. Thus, identity is perceived as a behavior that the individual assumes in order to be part of a particular structure with predefined rules and a set of well-defined expectations. Perceived through this theory, man is a collection of different characters and roles which become more obvious or fade depending on the context. Starting from the assumption that human identity is built from the reactions one has to external stimuli, the roles which one assumes according to the context may also change in response to a shift in the environment to which one relates. Hume reflects this idea very well in his work by identifying the society with a body that is undergoing changes to which the mind must adapt. A change in any indispensable part of the body destroys its identity, but what is remarkable is that when the change is produced gradually and imperceptible, we are less inclined to give it the same effect. According to the philosopher, a sudden change produces an immediate and obvious reaction. This is the case with artificial intelligence. Today we are both witnessing and participating to one of these powerful shifts in human behavior, and the change is produced so rapidly that we risk losing sight of who we are without even noticing it. This modus rebus is the direct product of the technological breakthroughs. What is fascinating and frightening at the same time is the dual nature of the change. On one hand, it seems discreet to those who decide to ignore it or unconsciously adapt to it when needed, and on the other hand, violent for those who organically experience the effort they have to make in order to form an identity at least similar to their internal structure. One of the most fascinating characteristics of the new technologies is the fact that they allow the individual to develop a high number of activities in a very short amount of time without any physical effort. Through the internet, the biological limits imposed by the body no longer represent a burden, as the virtual space allows us to be in several places at the same time. This sets the premises for a distinction between the physical and the virtual body. According to Ray Kurzweil, at the end of the 21st century, the real world will have many of the characteristics of the virtual one through the nanotechnology clusters. Knowing that time and space are notions that one uses in order to measure life, when the two are no longer delimited, the individual could be in danger of experiencing something similar to the cognitive dissonance. As political animals, as Aristotle said, we permanently seek to integrate ourselves in the society, and we tend to calibrate our behavior in order for it to resemble the image we believe others have of us. This alter ego, which we constantly compare ourselves to, is obtained mainly through social interactions and represents a factor of comparison that allows us to act according to norms we believe to be most fitted in a certain context. This phenomenon, known as the looking glass.
Please try to conclude. 1 minute left. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Is based on the idea that we do not evolve independently, but together with the society. As conclusions, in a more connected world than ever, where absolutely everything can be quantified, physical reality is in danger of being replaced by the virtual one, and the body will gradually become the only real impediment to progress. Engaged in this perpetual race, we risk being dehumanized in an attempt to be as similar as possible to the machines, which, undisturbed by the feelings, experiences, and behavioral predisposition of the human being, operate more accurately and are more effective. Thank you very much.
We thank you.
Thank you also. Thank you to the moderators. On behalf of the organizers, I have a short request. Please try to keep in mind that each speaker has a maximum of 6 minutes for their presentation, so that we respect all the speakers in the session and all of them get the chance to present their papers. And also because the session will end at the exact time, meaning 3:40 p.m. and we need the time to process the recording of this session. Therefore, please keep your presentations at a maximum of 6 minutes. At this point, there are no more minutes for discussions in this session. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for reminding this good suggestion. I would like to ask in the beginning, I try to monitor whether Michal IMROVIČ is here. Maybe another name is in the joining name. Are these the third title, speech title, Perspective and Reality of Young People in Slovenia in the Dimensions of Selected Subsystems of Social Policy? Authors is here to present their papers. I think we can move to the Michaela moderator role. Thank you. So we can skip to the part one. Okay, Michaela, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you. But I think Mr. IMROVIČ is here. I think we can wait for him.
If not, we can move to the next study, and later at the end, we can give the chance not to lose the time. No, we can't hear you. No sound. We can't hear. Okay, let's, dear Michaela, let's continue to the another study to save the time.
Okay, but I think another participant is not here. Alina Kostina. You can hear me?
Yes, the speech title, Facing the Problem of Children Drug Use, Parental Practices in the Romanian Family. Are these authors in here now to present their work? Okay.
Okay, I see Karen Karatmaka. Karen?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, super. You can present your presentation now.
Okay.
Good.
I will start quickly.
Try share screen. Okay.
Okay, I think you can see it now. I will try to be quick.
Yes.
Our study was the missions of organizations for people with disabilities, and the background and introduction to disability we made in our paper also. That's also seen as is seen in the Declaration of Persons with Disability, of right of persons with disabilities, people who cannot function by themselves as a result of any deficiencies in their personal or social lives. So disability is often a variable subject, and it depends mainly on where and how the results are encountered. Disability organizations are organizations that represent a certain kind of disability, cause or issue. They are usually acting like an advocate in the society of that certain disability issue. And when we look at the mission statements, what's the mission statements, we can say that it's explaining why an organization exists. So why it exists, and when we discuss about the vision, it's about the future of that organization. And it's actually the association's philosophy, logic, or fundamental beliefs, the background of that organization. So it's the explanation of behind being of that organization, really. And why this study came out, the emergence of the study, if we wanted to check if there are some mission statements of the organizations and the perspective of the members, and it can cause some problems in the operation and efficiency of that certain organization. And for consistency and continuity for that organization's mission, these two things should be in parallel. So our aim came out to be to monitor and evaluate the mission statements of association educational services for disabled people, and to explain also on the other side the points of view of the members of associations on what the mission statements actually should possess, and does the content of mission statements meet the needs and concerns of the members. So we used a qualitative research model, case studies model. So this is the situation analysis model from case studies, and is analysis of an event or subject from different perspectives. So we are checking both the organization's management side and also the member side. And for the method sampling, we have a sample frame of all the associations in North Cyprus. We got this from North Cyprus Ministry of Internal Affairs. There are 1,628 member associations, and also we chose 15 members of non-selective sampling for interview. So there are some details of the number of associations from different cities, and I will skip that to be quicker. And also there are some age and demographic views of the participants, characteristics of the participants as to be gender, year in the association as a member, age, and those kinds of information. And we used missions of associations from their strategic plans, and we also interviewed with 15 members from this different disability association. And for the data analysis, as I said, we had a qualitative research data approach. It starts with first coding the data, finding the themes, then editing the codes and the themes, then identifying and interpreting the findings, actually. And we came out with some short categories, and the researchers, with the aid of QDA minor program, we came out some categories. And these were some theme titles from the mission statements of the organizations. And these were some theme titles from the findings from member interviews. And as we see here, and we came out when we searched these two, when we looked at these two findings from mission statements and member interviews, we first checked the common categories for associations and the members. So common ones were basically the basic needs, the family support and rehabilitation needs. And for example, there's an example of an mission statement of an organization. The center aims to increase the quality of life and the people with physical abilities to the maximum independence, and by physical therapy rehabilitation, but not only disabled people, but also to ensure their integration in the society in the best way. So we came out to be, this mission statement came out to be basic needs, the family support and rehabilitation. And when we also checked the significant differences amongst the association, or between the association and the members, we see the accessibility is the high category for associations, comes after the support category, which is commonly the highest rank. And they say we work for technology, for example, it's an example from one of the associations. We work for technologies that are accessible to everyone. And when we see the significant, when we dig into more into significant differences for associations and the members, the economic issues was one of the things that came out to be this not the category that the organization focuses on, but the members give great importance in this respect. And most of them, when we interviewed, told that the association, when they don't focus on economic issues, all these things are not actually reliable. They don't believe in the association that much, so they should focus on more of these programs. And for example, one of the members of a disabled association said, due to economical difficulties, I couldn't get a suitable car, and because of the lack of public transportation, I wasn't be able to get into business. Therefore, I believe that economic challenges and transportation should be included in the mission. One of their, and there are many examples like this. And also, when we check the support function, so many early intervention services now endorse a family-centered approach that emphasizes family support and parent education, in addition to specific services related to child disability. One assumption of these programs is that beneficial effects will accrue not just the child, but also the parents, siblings, and the family. So these associations, as the member said, are more want a point of view from that organization to have a more family approach, more broad approach, also concentrating on the families. And also about the rehabilitation needs and problems on healthcare in terms of primary care services, participants emphasize difficulties even in contacting a doctor for their needs. So the focus, they said, should be the improvement needs on primary care services. That was also a common approach for the members, but not seen in the statements or strategic plans in the organizations mostly. So, although there are centers which address the medical problems of people with disabilities as the FDR, physical therapy and rehabilitation, under legal control of some disability associations, there are some associations working on that. Still, these FDR services to disabled people with clinics should be improved also under the control of the government. They say government control should be much more, and it should be taken into consideration that most of the families of disabled people need support even to reach these centers. So the important point is that to have an FDR isn't alone enough. The needs should be taught in broader sense, like transportation, like education of families and economic issues. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen, for a presentation. Now, I don't see other participants, so I think we have time for some discussion.
No, Alina is here. Is anyone is here as a presenter? Just first ask again to be sure. Is any presenter not complete their presentation? No, okay.
I know Mr. IMROVIČ has some problem with
yes.
technical, so he will prepare maybe 10 minutes. So now I think it's time for discussion. Everybody have some questions about presentation?
Yes, we have discussed about integrated care on the health issues in the Slovakia, also the concept of identity based on the technological era, and the concepts of disability, people with disability, which are the mainly focus of the social work in this world. Any questions for the presentations or any future suggestions for the future projections for the social work in your research? Dear participants, again, thank to all for your participation for this session. As you know,
I would like to ask a question to Mrs. Ines RAZEC. I was listening to her ideas about the concept of identity in the technological era, and I was wondering if she believes that the identities that we have as avatars, because right now we are in a World Congress, in a conference, and we are ourselves. I am looking at Dr. Fahir tonight, and it's so good to see you. We know each other from the journal Postmodern Openings, and finally it's great to see you in person.
Thank you.
And we see each other here, and we are real people, but we interact in an online environment. And I feel I am myself. I feel I have the same identity like I would have while interacting face to face with each and every one of you as a group or individually. Because she touched some key points in her presentation, I would like to ask her if she believes that this avatar mode that we try to create for ourselves in the online environment begins to affect our socialization and our identity in the real world, the non-online world.
Thank you very much for this question. Actually, it's something that preoccupies me very much, especially during this context where we had to mark our presence online more often than not. Even though we perceive ourselves as being our selves, our identical selves, and our true selves, sometimes during these online interactions, there are gestures, there are voice inflections that are lost, especially when writing, when communicating with someone in writing, because in this kind of communication, each one interprets the message according to their own perception of that person. So if we are not interacting face to face, there are some micro expressions that are lost, and even jokes, when we are making jokes and we are trying to be sarcastic and we are not using the particular emojis that show this, or that reinforce the fact that we are joking, we could lead people to have a different impression and mistake the joke for something serious. This is why the communication is also redefined. And when I'm talking about a virtual identity, I also talk about social media, where we sometimes try to show something that we are not, just so that the others could see that our existence and our life is a very good one, or is one that could help us get integrated in some social structures we want to be part of. This is why we need to know the limits, especially in what is especially in this behavior, because sometimes we get in groups, and the attitude of the group is the one that is most important. And this is why, because of the fact that we don't have the physical body imposing us to stop and imposing us these limits, we could engage in some dangerous behavior that we do not see on the spot. And this is why the limit is a very small one, and it's very dangerous sometimes. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yes, you have.
Thank you.
Yes, I was thinking about something I actually read on Facebook. It was a post made by someone who said, have you ever seen anybody post on Facebook something like, I am sad, or I have a horrible day, or I feel like I don't know what to do with my life? No, everybody's posting only happy stuff. Yes, and it was a recent read, and I was thinking about what you said, that we want to be part of a reference group, and we post according to the group we want to be part of. And this online behavior is, and I was just wondering, in the physical world, it's much harder to enter a reference group, because you need to also be accepted physically. In the online environment, you just post something, people react, and someone from that reference group might just react to something that you posted online about yourself. And this is how you discover the gateway into that group. So yes, thank you very much. I don't want to take any more time. Maybe someone else has questions. Thank you.
Yes, any question, any suggestion for future works in the social works area? Or any impressions and feelings you would like to share in this online context that we are sharing at this moment? Jaran, any suggestion for future works? Disability? area, what you like to suggest for future works, future suggestion.
Yeah, especially for the, thank you. I mean, for Ines also, it was also an interesting presentation. And for our disability work, actually for disability people, this online communication could be in the future for them to involve in society is a better tool. So most of the people in the past, for example, who couldn't even get enough education, this online phenomena that every day we have a progress on, also especially for disability concerns, it should open a door for them. So some new areas could open for them. So there should be a focus of research on this area that started, but in the coming years it would be much more. They would be much more achieving in this respect. I think so. So it could be a future research for the disabilities and online communication.
Also artificial intelligence, as Ines mentioned about it, maybe this can be an opportunity for their both educational and health services to improve the quality of their life. Any questions and any suggestion? Michaela, would you like to say something in this session before concluding? As we know that social works are very important, and it's nice to share in this session different dimensions of integrated care. This is very important also. Different countries should point out how they should care about integration of the health services. Also the idea of the disability, people with disability to live equal and to look equal is very important, and this is important in all societies, how to foster services in the qualified manner. And also, as we know that technology a part of our life, so we have to use the technological facilities for the benefits of the individuals in this wars. That's why we have to keep update our knowledge and the research on the technological studies by considering it as a tool, not our main point to consider it, just to give facilitations of the services. And from my point of view, in my research, which we are doing collaboratively in the world, accessibility is very important in the social work in order to be equal in every services. If anyone would like to raise future suggestions for future work, you are all welcome to raise your suggestion. Actually, we are coming ending of our session within a few minutes. If you want to raise any suggestion for future works, you are welcome. If not, we can.
Thank you, Arya. Thank you.
Michal, let's say ending words and sentences for this session.
Yes, I want only thank you for help with the moderators, because it is for me first bigger conference, and it's not good for me when here is not everybody, every presenters, but I want to thank our presenters. What? Sorry?
Everything is good chance for all of us in a synergy.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the participants. Thank you for the moderators. You are great. We can't wait to see you at our next conferences. We've had wonderful moderators today. We invite you to the next session, which will start at 4 a.m. Bucharest time. And let's have a wonderful Congress in the future days. Thank you very much to everybody.
Thank you. Nice to be with you. And everything is good by sharing and in a good atmosphere of synergy. Keep in touch. Take care.